This is Matthew from Commercial Deal Junkie, and we're going to be going over the most common way people lose their commercial buildings to the bank, okay? So we're going to start with an example here. We have a 4-unit strip center, okay? And in this 4-unit strip center, each person is paying $5,000 a month, okay? So in the $5,000 a month, that gives a net operating income or an NOI of $240,000 per year. So at an 8% cap rate, that values the building at $3 million. So this is a $3 million asset. The bank is going to value it as a $3 million piece of real estate. So the bank's going to give you a 75% loan on that piece of real estate, and you're going to be able to take a loan of $2.25 million, okay? So you have a 5-year term. Now, this is the thing about commercial loans. They're not like residential where you have a 30-year term and you can hold the loan for 30 years. They give you a period of time in which the loan is viable. At the end of that term, you have to refinance the property or sell the property. Okay, so you have a five-year term here, and the loan is at 75% LTV. That means you can get a $2.25 million loan. Okay, now let's fast forward 5 years. So you've owned this property for 5 years now. One of the tenants have left. You still have 3 tenants paying you $5,000 a month, but one of the tenants is now vacant. This is year 5. Okay, your new net operating income is now only $180,000, not this $240,000 you had before. So your new net operating income is $180,000. Now that net operating income being lower affects the value of the piece of real estate. So now the real estate is no longer worth $3 million, it's only worth $2.25 million, okay? So you're gonna go to the bank and say, hey, my 5 years are up, I wanna refinance this piece of real estate. And they're gonna okay, they're gonna appraise it. I just assumed an 8 cap, depending on what market you're in, that cap rate's gonna change. And the building's gonna say, okay, the building is now worth $2.25 million, and we'll give you 75% of that. So your new maximum loan amount is now $1,687,500. What's the problem here? Good chance this is interest only. So your balance here is still going to be $2.25 million. So you're going to have to do what's called a cash in refinance, not a cash out refinance. So your new loan balance is going to be smaller than your old loan balance. So you're actually going to have to bring the difference between this and this to the deal, $500,000-600,000 grand. You're going to have to bring it into the deal in order to complete this refinance. Or you're going to be forced to distress or sell a now distressed property because you have a vacant unit. So you have a vacant unit, now you're going to be stuck selling it. The building's still only worth this. So if you're lucky and you're able to sell it at this price, $2.25 million, you're going to be breaking even on the deal and essentially wiped out all your equity. What you're going to be able to sell it at is essentially your loan balance of $2.25 million. That's the problem. So what you need to do is you need to always be watching when your term expires. So what you should have done here, let's say this tenant left at the end of year 4, going into year 5. What you should have been doing is talking to this tenant long before they moved out. Because once they move out, your building is instantly worth less. You have to match the term and the length of your tenant's leases with when your refinance is coming due, which is one of the biggest mistakes commercial landlords make, and it ends up costing them the whole deal. So they should have known that this guy was leaving long before he left and started advertising the space for lease so that they could fill it up before the tenant actually leaves. And in many leases these days, they actually have a clause in there that says 120 days or 90 days or whatever it is before the tenant leaves, I'm allowed to start advertising the space for lease. So even while the tenant's in there, you can start advertising the space to leave. Because if this tenant has left and it's time to refinance, your building's worth less, you're not going to be able to refinance for the same loan amount. You're going to have to take a smaller loan amount, which means you're screwed because you currently have a loan for $2.25 million. Your new loan is going to be $1,687,000. As a result, you're going to have to bring the difference into the table as cash in order to complete this refinance. It's called a cash in refinance. We're used to hearing about cash out refinances where you're able to pull cash out of the deal, but if you don't set it up properly. Another option is to be able to raise rent on these 3 existing tenants. If you can raise the rent on all 3 of these tenants, now you have a higher net operating income here and the building is worth more. The point is you need to be constantly looking at your loan terms, the health and longevity of your tenants so you can make sure that when it does come time for a refinance, the property is in a healthy enough position to complete that refinance without bringing cash into the deal for the refinance. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you're constantly watching your tenant's health and how many years they have left on their term, along with how many years you have left on your loan. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to follow along, subscribe, and follow along on my journey as I buy commercial real estate, long distance, make it worth more, and ultimately exit. Anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one.